All right, so I wanted to make a quick video, to talk about something that I was, struggling with this week. I think this week I was falling into temptation a lot more. I think scrolling my phone a lot more and spend a lot more time doing shit that I probably should not have been doing. And I think that's because I took a week off from the gym this week. I need to let my body rest and recover, a deload week or whatever, so that I can go harder the next week. And for some reason, it's like that pent up energy that I take out in the gym because I wasn't going to the gym this week. I was like looking for something, I was looking for an outlet to use that energy in. And I guess the outlet was the things that I didn't need. I didn't have any good outlets, I guess. But yeah, it is what it is. At least now I know why. But I still need to give myself a break. So I gave myself the week off, let my body recover. I was feeling a bit weird in my shoulder. So I wanted to let it completely rest before I went back in the gym. And then, so I've noticed that when I don't have like positive outlets, when I don't have positive outlets to, express this like pent up energy that I might have, I use it in the wrong ways or I fall into temptation a lot more. But yeah, that's just something I really have to keep track of. Is even on the days where I don't go to the gym, like even my rest days, I need to still have some sort of something where I can express my energy and use that pent up energy for good as opposed to kind of just wasting it scrolling through my phone or something like that. So that's something I definitely need to work on. And yeah, taking it day by day, days are flying by. Honestly, like the month of March flew by. Like I don't even remember. Yeah, it feels like just yesterday. It was March 1st and March is already gone now. So time is definitely flying. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. If I guess I'm losing track of time because I'm focused on what I need to be doing, or maybe I should pause and take a minute to look around. And I guess that brings up another idea I was thinking about was like, you'll always have big dreams, ambitions, and things you want to achieve in life. But if the only thing that brings you true happiness is achieving things, I think you'll be miserable in the long run. The reason being is that that time period or duration where you're actually going to achieve something is very short lived. The happiness you'll get from that, the joy you'll get from that is very short lived, I feel. And in comparison to the time it takes you to get there, it's practically nothing. So if the only happiness you're going to get and the only time you allow yourself to be happy is once you achieve that thing you've been striving for, I think you'll be miserable because even when you do get that, there's going to be another goal you'll set for yourself, or at least that's how it's been working for me is when I get something, the happiness lasts for a bit and then, all right, what's the next thing I can strive towards? And so you're constantly chasing after something. And if the only happiness you get is in achieving it, you'll be miserable throughout the journey. So I think you have to really take a step back and enjoy what it is you're doing and be in alignment with the fact that whatever it is you're trying to achieve, you're doing it because you're happy to be on the journey and not just because you're waiting to achieve it. I think that's a good outlook to have. And if you recognize that you might be striving for something that is making you miserable throughout the journey, maybe I need to, pivot and reconsider the things that I'm valuing. And that doesn't mean that just because you have a few rough days and sometimes you just have to do some work where you don't really want to do it, you have to do work that isn't the most beautiful, isn't the most appealing. That doesn't mean you quit. It just means that if the entire journey is just miserable and the only thing you know that's going to bring you happiness is achieving, then maybe reconsider what it is you're chasing. And another way to look at it is when you're at the bottom of the mountain, you're always intimidated by how far up the peak is and the amount of work it's going to take you to get up there. But in doing that, don't rob yourself of the present moment. And so while you're on the climb and while you're climbing up the mountain, don't just be thinking about the peak. Take a minute, sit, take a break, and enjoy the view that you currently have. Because, like I said, getting to the peak, that joy is going to be very short-lived. Because in a few moments, you're going to have to descend. And if the only joy you had in climbing the mountain is when you got to the peak, it's probably a very miserable climb. So while you're climbing, take a break and take a minute to breathe in the view that you currently have, breathe in the people you have in your life at this view, breathe in the things you have access to, breathe in your schedule, really breathe in the routine and the life that you're living at this present moment and appreciate it, because you won't always be here. And if you're so occupied with reaching the peak of the mountain, you might just miss out on the beautiful views that came along the way. So, make sure you're doing that. And that's also a reminder to me, I guess, not just I'm saying this video as if I'm talking to somebody, but really it's just a reminder to myself and maybe my kids when they watch it in the future, is to enjoy the view you have right now, because it won't always be like this. One thing I also struggle with is the idea that I'm the youngest child in my family, and so everybody else is older. And technically speaking, if things go how they're supposed to, they will leave this earth before I do. And I'm conscious of, or I'm aware of that fact. And sometimes it does scare me. But once I've accepted it, I've also learned to just appreciate them while they're here. I tend to hug people a lot harder and stronger because I know that I won't always have the opportunity to do so. So, being aware that there's not unlimited time, being aware that there's a finite number of times that I'm going to spend with my brother, my parents, my friends, it gives me the perspective I need to truly enjoy life. And I've been trying to embrace it more and more. And as opposed to being scared or being anxious about the fact that my loved ones won't always be here, I'm trying to make the most of the moment right now and trying to make the most of the time that I have with them. And it's tough because balancing all that with wanting to, or just intrinsically, I feel like being somebody who's ambitious and wants to achieve a lot, I find that a lot of the time I'm by myself or isolated because I need that time to do the work. And, it's an everyday battle, like striking that balance between, okay, you know what, today I just need to be isolated and I need to focus. And then knowing when to let that up and being like, you know what the stuff that truly matters is my relationships with my loved ones. And so trying to balance that has been tough. I've had people tell me, oh, you're always just doing your own thing. I don't see you anymore, or I don't see you as much anymore. And it sucks because I feel like I'm chasing my dreams or my ambitions, one for myself, but also for the people I love. But in doing so, I'm sacrificing time with the people I love. So I'm really confused about how to strike a balance between that sometimes. And I'm just praying that, my intuition is not leading me astray and the way I'm doing it is the right way. But really, I'll never know, right? That's something I'd say has been a battle for the past. Honestly, I'd say it's been a battle for a long time because I enjoy the time alone because I feel like I'm working towards something. And one thing I battle with is, if I don't achieve what I've set out to achieve, was all the time that I sacrificed worth it? And that fear can sometimes be overwhelming. And I feel like to overcome it, I just work more or I just work harder, or I do the very thing that I'm scared of. I work more and more so that the possibility of that happening, the possibility of me not reaching what I wanted to reach, and having all this time I sacrificed and feeling sad about it, if I just outwork it, I won't have to face that reality or that possibility. Now, I don't know if that's the best way to go about it. And like I said, I'm trying to strike a balance. I'm not perfect. I'm only doing this for the first time as well. So, I think a huge part of striking a balance with chasing your dreams and also trying to make time for people you love and care about is really is truly understanding who it is that matters in your life. I don't think it's that hard to strike a balance when you have a clear-cut definition and have a sense of clarity about who and what matters in your life. I think that I think it becomes overwhelming when you start spending time with the wrong people or doing the wrong things, and that's where you feel overwhelmed. Like, man, I don't have the time to do all these things at once. But if you really hone in and really focus on the things and people that truly matter to you, you'll be able to divide your time a lot better. And that's something that's really helped me strike a balance, is recognizing what things in life truly bring me joy, and let me try to maximize my downtime doing those things or spending it with those people. And every other minute where I'm pursuing a dream, I'm working on something, that's fine. But in the downtime that I do have, only spend it with things that are fueling me up and providing love and support to my loved ones. So I think I've narrowed down my circle in terms of people and narrowed down the things I like to do in my free time, and it's made it a lot easier for me. Like when I have free time, I know what I want to do. I know what I want to spend it doing. I don't really watch sports or TV as much anymore, but I love watching Champions League soccer, so I definitely make time for that. I love watching UFC fights, so I think like once a month is the schedule roughly. Whenever they have the big UFC events, I always tune into those because those genuinely bring me joy. I enjoy watching them and it's a fun time. So I know what's going to fuel me up and what's going to bring me down. So I spend my time accordingly. And yeah, I think balance is a huge thing. I don't even think that, like, sometimes I used to kind of look at people without balance and be like, man, like it must be so cool to achieve all these things and be so locked into this one thing that you're looking forward to achieving. But then I realized, like, those aren't the true winners in life. In my opinion, the true winners in life aren't just people who neglect every other aspect of their life. I don't think the true winners in life are those who neglect every other aspect of their life for their own selfish desires. Because when it's said and done, nobody gives a shit about the amount of sales you had. Nobody gives a shit about the amount of money you earned. The only thing that truly matters is the relationships you had with other people and the time you spent with them. And so if you're so occupied with your own stuff and so selfish, I feel like when it's all said and done, you'll have nothing to show of true value. I don't think material wealth it's amazing. It's something I definitely strive for. It's in no way, shape, or form am I saying that material wealth isn't something that you should strive for, but it shouldn't be the only thing that you strive for. And I think having a balance is what will help you realize that, because when you do have a healthy balance, I think you see the importance in prioritizing your family relationships, your friends' relationships with your friends, relationships with your family, and even yourself. What do you do in your downtime? What do you do to sort of empty your mind and just enjoy life? So, yeah, I'm ambitious, and I love hearing stories about people who are achieving their dreams and working hard towards them. But I nitpick good qualities from people. I don't say that, because this person has achieved this crazy thing, like I want my entire life to be like that. I nitpick the good qualities that they have and understand what things I can apply to my own life and what things need to be changed so that it actually works for me and the relationships I have and the life that I want.